Have you ever wondered about the history of Venom? You know, that muscular, drooling, symbiote-covered guy who looks like Spider-Man's evil twin after spending a little too much time at the gym? But did you know that Venom's story is a strange journey of alien goo, scorned journalists, and 80s comics weirdness? Hang on, because we're about to dive deep into the gooey, complex, and sometimes downright hilarious history of one of Marvel's most iconic anti-heroes, Venom. I'm Keith, and this is History Wonder. The birth of Venom traces back to a problem that has plagued many a superhero: wardrobe malfunctions. It was 1984, and Spider-Man was having a rough time in Marvel's big event comic Secret Wars. Imagine this: Spidey gets whisked away to an alien planet with a bunch of other heroes, and suddenly, his classic red and blue suit gets shredded. He's in need of a new costume, and this is where things get weird. As Spider-Man stumbles upon an alien machine that promises to make a new suit, he unknowingly unleashes a sentient blob of black goo. Yeah, that's always a good idea, right? This mysterious substance bonds with Peter Parker, gifting him a slick black suit with enhanced powers, like unlimited webbing and the ability to mimic streetwear. Talk about convenient. But, as anyone who's read a comic knows, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. At first, Peter loved his new suit. Not only did it look cooler, it made him stronger, faster, and webbier, if that's a word. But soon, Spidey realized something was off. The suit was a little too clingy, like that one friend who texts you 12 times in a row when you haven't responded. Peter would wake up swinging through the city without even realizing it. The suit was controlling him, not the other way around. Spider-Man discovered that this sleek new fashion statement was actually a living, breathing, if you can call that breathing, alien parasite known as a symbiote. The symbiote had bonded with him and was slowly corrupting his mind. Peter, being the responsible guy he is, decided it was time to kick the parasitic goo to the curb. Using the power of loud church bells, because symbiotes have a thing about sound apparently, Spider-Man tore the suit off in a dramatic fashion that only comics could pull off. Here's where things get juicy. The black suit may have been gone from Peter, but it was far from finished. Enter Eddie Brock, a down-on-his-luck journalist whose life was falling apart faster than a Marvel movie villain planned. Eddie had a bone to pick with Spider-Man. You see, Eddie's career had just tanked after Spidey exposed a fraudulent story Eddie had written. In classic 80s comic fashion, Eddie blamed Spider-Man for everything wrong in his life, from his failed journalism to probably his bad haircut. In an extremely convenient twist of fate, Eddie happened to be at the same church where Peter ditched the symbiote, and wouldn't you know it, the alien goo found Eddie, bonding with him out of mutual hatred for Spider-Man. Together they became Venom, a big, toothy, tongue-wagging behemoth of hate and muscle. Thus, one of Spider-Man's greatest villains was born, fueled by Eddie's grudge and the symbiote's hunger for vengeance. Venom wasn't just your run-of-the-mill bad guy. Sure, he wanted to destroy Spider-Man, but there was something oddly sympathetic about him. Eddie Brock wasn't some evil genius or galactic tyrant. He was just a guy who made bad decisions, got burned by life, and happened to be bonded with an alien creature. In a weird way, he was almost relatable, which made him stand out from Spidey's other foes like Dr. Octopus or the Green Goblin, who were just, well, crazy. Venom also didn't want world domination or infinite power. He wasn't interested in robbing banks or taking over New York. Nope, Venom had one mission: ruin Spider-Man's life. That singular focus, combined with Eddie's humanity and the symbiote's primal rage, created a character that was both terrifying and, oddly enough, a little likable. Fans quickly fell in love with this venomous villain. Now here's where Venom's story takes a turn from villain to anti-hero. In the early 90s, Marvel realized they had a hit on their hands. Venom's popularity skyrocketed, and he became too beloved to remain just a bad guy. So, Marvel did what Marvel does best. They gave him a solo comic series, Venom: Lethal Protector. In this series, Venom tries to turn over a new leaf. He moves to San Francisco because why not, vowing to stop being a villain and instead protect the innocent, as long as they aren't Spider-Man. The symbiote, now fully bonded with Eddie, still craved violence, so Venom decided to channel that rage into beating up criminals and, well, eating the occasional brain. No big deal. Venom's time as an anti-hero gave him new depth, showing that he wasn't just a one-dimensional Spider-Man foe. Sure, he was still scary, but he had his own code of honor. He wouldn't hurt innocent people, and he genuinely tried to protect the weak. Fans ate it up, and Venom became a complex character who could toe the line between good and evil. Like any good comic book character, Venom didn't stay a solo act for long. Soon, the symbiote family tree started to grow, and it got wild. First, we got Carnage, an even more unhinged symbiote born from Venom. Carnage bonded with a psychotic serial killer named Cletus Cassidy, and together they became one of Marvel's most terrifying villains. Where Venom was driven by revenge, Carnage was driven by pure chaos and a desire to murder anything that moved. Spidey even had to team up with Venom to take Carnage down, proving just how dangerous the offspring was. But the symbiote madness didn't stop there. Marvel kept pumping out new symbiotes with names like Toxin, Scream, and Riot, each one bonding with different hosts and bringing their own brand of weird to the table. Some were villains, others were anti-heroes like Venom, but they all shared one thing in common: a whole lot of goo. Venom's rise in popularity eventually led to the big screen. His first appearance came in 2007's Spider-Man 3, where, well, let's just say it wasn't the best representation of the character. Topher Grace's portrayal of Eddie Brock and Venom was met with mixed reviews, and the character didn't get the dark, menacing treatment fans had hoped for. Fast forward to 2018, and Venom finally got his own solo movie, starring Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock. The movie leaned into the weirdness of the character, giving us a Venom that was part terrifying, part hilarious. Who could forget the turd in the wind line? The film follows Eddie, a down-on-his-luck investigative journalist who becomes the host for the alien symbiote, Venom, granting him superhuman abilities and a monstrous alter ego. As Eddie struggles to control his new powers and the unpredictable, violent nature of Venom, he uncovers a sinister plot led by Carlton Drake, head of the Life Foundation, who plans to fuse symbiotes with humans for his own gain. Eddie and Venom must reluctantly work together to stop Drake and prevent a symbiote invasion, all while navigating their complex love-hate relationship in this darkly humorous, action-packed anti-hero origin story. The film was a box office hit, and in 2021, the sequel, Venom: Let There Be Carnage, brought Eddie and his symbiote back together as they face a deadly new foe. After a dangerous encounter with Cletus Cassidy, a deranged serial killer, Eddie inadvertently helps Cassidy bond with a symbiote of his own, creating the deadly and uncontrollable Carnage. As Carnage wreaks havoc, unleashing destruction with no regard for life, Eddie and Venom are forced to confront their own dysfunctional relationship and unite to stop Cassidy's reign of terror. Filled with explosive action, dark humor, and intense battles, the film delves deeper into the twisted world of symbiotes and their unpredictable hosts. The film was absolute chaotic fun, solidifying Venom's status as a cinematic anti-hero. Over the decades, Venom has evolved from Spider-Man's nightmare to a complex, multi-layered character who walks the fine line between hero and villain. Whether he's facing off against Spider-Man, battling his symbiote offspring, or devouring bad guys with a smirk, Venom remains one of Marvel's most enduring characters. He's proof that sometimes even the most bizarre ideas, alien, ooze, anyone, can lead to something iconic. So next time you see that toothy grin or hear the word symbiote, just remember, it all started with a fashion disaster. Thanks for watching.
We are Venom.